Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Northernlion. I'm playing The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus with 43 wins in a row. And I don't lose on quarantine. So I hope if you're watching this... Yo, stats are great here. QSEJ 0EA8 EA8. EA8. That felt weird. That did something weird to my epiglottis. EA8. EA8. That's hard. That's like a master level English exam. Especially because it has nothing to do with the language, but is instead something to do with the way that human throat makes sounds. Now, what an interesting conundrum we find ourselves with here. I do think Mutant Spider is the way to go, especially because our rate of fire was already good. But that's tight. Leech is pretty good as well. Anyway, what I was gonna say is I merely hope, if you're watching this, at this point I can't tell you to stop. I've told you to stop 43 times in a row because we don't lose on quarantine and nobody believes me. So instead, here's what I'm gonna say. I hope you're watching this so you've already done what needs to be done today. Or you're watching this while you're doing something else that needs to be done. Plugging values into spreadsheets. I don't know, what do people do? What is a job in 2020? I have only a small concept of what a job is. Like, if your job name describes 100% a simple action you take, I get it. I'm a pizza delivery person. You deliver pizza. I am, trying to think of other good examples. I'm an electrician. Easy enough. If you're like, I'm a risk management specialist, I don't know what you do. As far as my only knowledge of what you do is essentially, I imagine you have Excel open a lot, and occasionally you take calls from clients and you say things like, well, due to, like some words that would be used quite frequently: arbitrage, leverage, overextended, pressure points. Let's circle back and talk about this tomorrow, etc., etc. You get what I mean? Now, we got a classic little Isaac meme here. Nobody sent me a message all morning. All of a sudden, I start recording Isaac. 4 messages in the Discord. Yo, that's so good. Let's see what's going on here. I dare not repeat that message. I alt-tabbed during Isaac to see what my Discord messages were. I dare not read this aloud, though. It's not a dirty tonk message. It is merely disgusting. And I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Hold on. So there's been a reply as well. The reply was merely LOL. A jaunty little LOL. Anyway, moving on here. You think that's a secret room? That is not a secret room. As far as I'm concerned, that was a decent use of the world card to try to make a secret room come to pass. But now that I think about it, the black hole doesn't work to find secret rooms, right? We've had black hole a little bit more often over the past few, I don't know, past like 50 episodes, which is really the minimum time scale I used to discuss Isaac at this point in my life. I feel like we've tested black hole on secret rooms recently. Prayer card. Prayer card versus black hole. Just gonna level with you. My brain is like, don't take prayer card. It's more boring. But remember, I've been fighting that impulse recently. My impulse has always been, hey, this run is particularly strong. Let's deliberately hamper it in order to make it more exciting for the viewer. Now, I've taken the restrictor plate off. We are going to exclusively rely on entertaining you via banter, with the gameplay as merely some resonance in the background. Because that's what our 2020 energy is. We're good enough, we're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like us. Okay, so we got a guaranteed deal with the devil. And I gotta be honest, amongst every single one of these, well, almost every single one of these 44 runs now, there has come a point. I think we gotta, because of prayer card, we gotta take a stab at this. Like, I think we gotta play this dude right here. Straight up. I think it's worth the HP to try to get a quote-unquote free deal with the devil item. Magician is not what we're looking for there. Like, the lovers would have been better. Mom's bottle of pills? That can show up here? Woof. What a whiff. Okay, these are all not great items. But thankfully, via prayer card, we should be in a good spot to keep our life alive here. But what I was going to say is, in every single one of these runs, bar a couple of exceptions that were spicy up till the end, we've kind of reached a point, at some point, where we say, you know what, we will not lose this run. This run is pretty much set in stone. Prior to what we got from the deal with the devil there, and what we spent on that deal with the devil, I thought we were there. I'm actually going to open this, believe it or not. You're going to be like, why would you do that? Well, the real reason is money, to be honest. And I'm going to use this money on the shop to hopefully buy a battery charge and a spirit heart. I think we'll start with the spirit heart, believe it or not. And then we'll try to go a little deeper, and actually worked out like exactly according to plan. So I feel very intelligent right now. And then I'm actually gonna take it one step further. I'm gonna reinvest. I'm gonna go into this curse room. I only feel confident doing this because our stats are super good. Neither of these are super relevant, so let's just generate nice helping of bombs, and we're out. Yeah, our stats otherwise are very nice. So, but yeah, there's come a point where we've been like, this run, we no longer need to worry about it. It's pretty much set in stone. We might not be at set in stone territory yet, but we're at, like, you know, Sharon Stone territory. You know, like when she was really kicking in the late 80s and like early to mid 1990s. She was in Basic Instinct. That was a big one. Casino, great movie. Not necessarily one of the... It's not an S-tier Martin Scorsese movie, but I would honestly put it up there in the A or perhaps high B tier for me personally. So, yeah, we're confident. That's a very roundabout way of non-descriptively saying we're confident. But anyway, it's a Monday today. Hope everybody's doing okay. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. What are the haps? Very little. People stop saying that. What's the haps? We've moved on from that. You know, that was like... I'll take ownership. What's the haps? He. Meh. Other such early vestiges of, like, millennial internet speak, I was there for sure. I wouldn't say I was a thought leader at the time, but sure. Have I said meh before in my life? Oh yes. I've typed it. I've said it out loud. I've said what's the haps for sure. I've said it all. We don't say that too much anymore though. I feel like now the nomenclature and the verbiage and the vernacular has moved on. Is that strange era in internet history where the most popular piece of media was... Oh, it's the Felicia Day Neil Patrick Harris one? You know. All my brain is saying is the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. I know that's not what it is. You know what I mean, no. You know what I'm talking about. There was a couple of years on the internet you couldn't go anywhere without somebody saying to you, yo, have you seen this thing? Isn't Nathan Fillion in it as well? Oh, okay, we're fine. We're gonna be okay. Could have black ruined that, but actually appreciate the luck early on, believe it or not. And I'm gonna, it's spiced. I'm not gonna deny that it's spiced to say no to a guppy item. Give me 1 second here. Ahem. Neil Patrick Harris, Felicia Day, Nathan Fillion. Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. There we go. Like I said, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Trying to think of other... Because I had friends back in college who talked like that. You'd be like, hey, do you want to go out for some pizza? They'd be like, totes my goats. And you're like, ah. Back then, I was like, wow, they're cool and quirky. And you know what? They've probably moved on from that vernacular. Now that they've got PhDs and jobs where you have to wear a lab coat. But when I think back to it, there's a modest amount of cringe for sure. You know, there's probably stories. I met your mother in university. I knew she was the one when I asked if she wanted to go see Planet Terror and Death Proof with me at the local multiplex back when movie theaters existed. And she replied, totes my goats, my dude. Then we listened to some brand new and watched the new Zach Galifianakis stand-up special. It was... Oh no, let's make it a little bit more dated. We watched the new Dane Cook special, and it was Love at First Beeline. I don't know what I'm talking about, to be honest with you. Can I tell you an anecdote from watching television last night? I like sketch comedy, okay? I will say, and this is not an I think you should leave bit, believe it or not. But I'll talk briefly about I think you should leave. Because I think it's... let's suck that up. Speed, a little bit of a whiff, but that's okay. Like, I think you should leave has kind of ruined a lot of other sketch shows for me. Not to say it's the best sketch show of all time, because honestly, I don't know if I could say that with confidence. I'd want to sit down for a little bit for sure, do some research. But so many other sketch comedy shows, they kind of like... I mean, you don't get very much time to get your point across, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So they start with, like, here's the bit, you know? What if they made this movie, but it was all old people? And you go, ha ha ha. Old Avengers. And then Captain America's like, you know, back in my day. And you get the idea. I think we should go deep on battery charges if possible and just leverage everything we've got to make our life easier in the future. Converter, the optics don't quite feel right here. I think that's about where we want to stop that one. We'll just move on, not go to the curse room, unfortunately. Unless we can get a spirit heart here, in which case we will go to the curse room. Let's try one more time. Beautiful. I think you should leave is more like, I don't want to say it's more modern, but instead of being like, what if the cast of Star Wars, you know, was teleported to the bridge of the USS Enterprise? It's a bit more of like a character study, right? It's a bit more postmodern, I guess is a way to explain it. It's more impressionistic. It's less about emotion and more about tone and atmosphere, right? But there's a Canadian sketch show. It's kind of like a Canadian version of Saturday Night Live, and it's called Kids in the Hall. So I was watching a little bit of that on TV last night. And it's how I realized that I am a modern man with modern sensibilities, you know? And I'm comfortable with who I am as a 31-year-old. Because the only television network that was playing Kids in the Hall was a television network by the name of Out TV. And I believe it is Canada's, like, LGBTQ plus focused television network. Which, first off, is cool that exists. Secondly... I'm not sure if every member of the Kids in the Hall troupe was gay, but either way, they're definitely icons in Canada, partly for the comedy and partly for that reason as well. But first off, doesn't bother me in the least. Then one episode ended, and every single advertisement that ran between episode 1 and episode 2 was just incredibly handsome, oiled up, muscular young men in underwear. Posing at the camera, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna change the channel. I'm here for it. Let's watch another Kids in the Hall episode. I was thinking about how different, like, You know, my parents would be totally fine for it. But if my grandpa was like, let's watch Kids in the Hall, and then that ad came on, he would definitely change the channel during the 2 minutes of advertisements and then change it back. Just to avoid the suspicion that perhaps this man who, you know, fathered like 4 children and is the grandfather to like 9 children might be liking what he saw. For me, I mean, I was admiring, to be honest, more on like an aesthetic level. I was like, these guys are in great shape and incredibly low body fat percentages. I wonder what their routine looks like. But also, I was like, I'm not changing the channel. It's a lot of work. Plus, there's nothing else. The only thing on TV right now, coronavirus updates. I'll watch those once a day. Wash my hands? Okay. Sure, why not? And then the other one is, Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta. I don't know what it is about people being inside, but TLC has decided that the most important television program right now, a network that used to have television programs that were documentaries set inside of hospitals. You would think this would be their time to perhaps go backwards, you know, and get involved in, you know, showing some medical intrigue again. But they say, no, Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta. I got nothing against Say Yes to the Dress. Mostly because I've never seen an episode, but it is definitely not in my... It would be hypocritical of me, let's put it this way, to help. It would be hypocritical of me to insult anyone's taste in reality television, because, you know, I have in the past, although less recently, i.e. none recently, watched 90 Day Fiancé. But I'm going to tell you straight up, outside of, like, competition-based shows, like, I know people still really like Survivor, outside of competition-based reality shows, 90 Day Fiancé is the crown jewel in the reality show camp. Now, again, I haven't been watching them. I'm just saying, I haven't watched anything in the new season except I've seen a couple of clips on Reddit of the dude who lied about everything in order to meet this, you know, beautiful young lady, and now she, like, definitely seems to not like him very much, so it's cringe incarnate. I'm just saying, those of you who are like, it's trash. It is trash, but it's like the highest grade trash. I don't think we can get it out there. Like, if you compare it to something like, you know, Storage Wars, is better. That's all I'm gonna say. Especially because 90 Day Fiancé is only slightly faked, whereas the whole Storage Wars is fake. Anyway. Maybe, though, not the whole Storage Wars, but... Look, we don't have to get into it. I don't think we need the AAA battery. We have 8 HP. We're pretty close to unkillable. This is a huge room. So you do something like this. You diplopia. You take the mystery gift outside. You get the mind. Oh my lord. X-Lax is whatever, obviously. You get a free prayer card usage. And you get, I mean, a battery charge to Cemented, and you get a Spirit Heart for free. That was disgusting. What an unbelievable haul. Oh, the mind is so good, too. Dude, we're in a great spot here. I think we should check. I think it's worth one of our 33 keys to check. But anyway, that's pretty much what's been going on in my life. I mean, I recorded some Isaac yesterday, so it's not like we've had an opportunity for a lot more anecdotes, honestly. Pretty much just been, you know, doing what you're supposed to do. Staying inside. Making content. He helped me. I am stunned, by the way. And I don't want to turn this into a... Like, I have a pretty good relationship with social media right now. I don't use it too much. I interface with it on my own terms. And really, it's been good, honestly. But occasionally, you know, I'll be on the internet and, like, on Twitter... I'll see, like... And on TikTok a lot as well. I know people's thoughts on TikTok, but just allow me to use that as the platform for this, because it makes sense. Not all content on TikTok is stupid, but I do think that many of planet Earth's most stupid people are making content for TikTok, yes. Excuse me, open up, please. Thank you. This is good gravy right here. But there was like, and it's not even like people, I think they look at TikTok as if it's, and I'm not defending the platform like at all here, to be honest with you, but I think they look at TikTok and they're like, that's a platform for like 12-year-olds doing dumb stuff. What should really annoy you about TikTok, and you wouldn't know unless you've been on the site, is that 12-year-olds doing dumb stuff, you're like, whatever, dude, you're 12. The most annoying the most annoying demographic on TikTok by far is like 45 to 60-year-olds who should definitely know better, but wear their idiocy as like a badge of honor. Like, look at how old I am, despite still being pretty dumb. And you're gonna think that what I'm saying is mean, and it kind of is, but let me tell you why it's warranted. One of the videos I saw this morning, and I was just scrolling through for like I'll be honest, I was dumping, okay? And I was scrolling through in little 10-second bursts, and there's a video that said, "No social distancing here," and it was a selfie style video of a bald middle-aged man throwing a party in his driveway with like 12 other people all giving the camera the middle finger and like showing all the beer that they drank in their yard. And I'm just like, man. And again, this is why you should feel positive about the next generation, to be honest. All the comments are like Zoomers saying, first off, you're old enough to be my dad and this is embarrassing. Let's try it. Let's get weird. You're old enough to be my dad and this is embarrassing, but also simultaneously like, please go inside, you absolute fool. It's a beautiful thing. There's intergenerational solidarity. The boomers, the zoomers, the millennials, the Gen Xers. I hear you, Gen Xers. We're always forgotten. You know, on the one hand, you're right. On the other hand, get over it, dude. You're like 55 years old. Come on. You're gonna keep that chip on your shoulder forever? Go watch some Winona Ryder movies and chill out. Okay, drop this bad boy right there. We can still charge Maw of the Void. I think it's worth it. I think we're gonna be able to get to boss rush here if we want to, but we might just want to use the Emperor to kick this one into high gear. We'll see. Okay, goat head. Is trash. That is a trash item. Honestly, nothing here really appeals to me enough to be stoked, so let's just head down to the next floor. But yeah, I was, that's the thing that got me slightly angered today, was seeing that video. I just, like, it's kind of one of those things that I think we've all come to realize in the social media generation. We all kind of knew that there were dummies out there. I mean, everybody out there has probably known a few dummies, right? You've got like an uncle or something where even your parents are like, yeah, he's like, he tries hard, but he's like done some stuff in his life. You know what I mean? You get a little older and you're like, Uncle Phil is, he's an ex-con? I had no idea. Should have known from all the Smirnoff Ices he was bringing to every Thanksgiving. I know, you're like, it's spicy now. It don't have to be spicy. I think we should actually walk this back and try to go... Okay, there goes my Eternal Heart. Try to go to the second secret room to get maybe some more red hearts. That's helpful. I mean, losing the Eternal Heart is one thing, but I would trade the Eternal Heart, which is not really that important when we already have 7 heart containers, for more of these heart containers that we already have being full, right? So... I'm really just, I think I should use my Ludovico technique more. You might look at this right now and say Ludovico, oh thank God. Ludovico is kind of costing you. I don't see it that way. I think what's costing me is that I'm trying to go with Maw of the Void when I should just be going with Ludovico at all times, even if it's a little slower. Oh, if you'll excuse me, there's a knock on the door. I'm back. What was I talking about? That's my mistake. I've been talking with a muted microphone for about 5 minutes. Very frustrating. So I'll tell you what happens there, in case you're curious. If you mute your microphone and then you hit the space bar, the microphone was the last selected element in OBS, and as a result, the space bar is like activate again, so it mutes and then unmutes. Or it unmutes then mutes, I should say. So when I press the space bar to re-enter Isaac, what happens is it doesn't re-enter Isaac. Instead, it mutes my microphone again, which is my fault for opening the door for the package in the first place. Maybe this is the appropriate time to draft up a sign that says, just go ahead and leave it outside. Disconnect the doorbell from our electronic home system and say, please don't knock, there's a baby asleep in here. Something along those lines. It's, yeah, and maybe you're noticing it yourself, is the work from home conundrum. We need a mail room here. What was in the package, Kate? A gold bar, she says. That's not good enough. It has to be life-saving medicine. I could just turn my window into like a drive-through window with a slide-open panel. And I'll be like, what does it say is in the package? The guy will be like, socks. I'll be like, just dump it! Just dump it on the step, I'll get it later. And if he's like, insulin, I'll be like, alright. Pass it through. It's alright. I already told you not to watch at the top of the episode because we're going to win anyway. So, you know, if you had to witness that period of silence, you're probably aware of, you know, that it's your fault to begin with. Because I'm not even supposed to be here. Etc., etc. Dude, I'm actually stunned at how... And we're fine, by the way. Like, our odds of losing have gone up, but we're still very, very fine. I am surprised how much Ludo took out of our... How much wind Ludo took out of our sails. I actually think that Firemind should be pretty decent for us. just because, you know, the discrete kind of like burst damage from it should be real solid. But yeah, this was, I'm not going to say I will never take Firemind again, or sorry, never take Ludo again, because I don't think that's realistic for me. But man, that really, I mean, we were cruising USA. One of my favorite Nintendo 64 games. Mostly because I got it when I was a child and didn't know how to evaluate media. So if you were like, what do you like more, Cruisin' USA or The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time? I would be like, it's Cruisin' USA by a mile, dude. There's no cars in Zelda. I mean, there's Epona, but that's not really like... I wouldn't say that's one and the same. Okay, getting hit there was honestly pretty embarrassing. I hate to say it, but like, that's the kind of stuff that we have to definitely stay away from if we're gonna do okay here. So the number one thing, and I think this is a muscle. It's a muscle I've been trying to work out more as well. But I think patience is a muscle, you know? When I was growing up, I think I was impatient, but because I was an only child, I didn't notice as much, because for the most part, I could do things at my own pace, which tends to be fast, and that's not braggadocious. Like, often, my classic, like, middle school grade was like... Let me try to figure out the best way to explain this, because I don't want to be like, check out how smart I was in 6th grade. But like, the teacher would give us an hour to do something. I would finish it in 15 minutes, and then get like 10% marked off because of dumb mistakes. Where if I had just taken an extra 10 minutes to like proofread and, you know, maybe like, you know, write more neatly, to be honest, so the teacher could understand what I was writing. I would do better. So that's kind of like, you know, that was my my workflow when I was growing up. Was like, I'm just gonna finish it fast and you know, whatever. And like, I had the capabilities for sure to do better, but I was like, you know, the opportunity cost for that is high. Instead of finishing this in an hour, I could finish this in 22 minutes and then stare into space for half an hour, and you know, that's pretty valuable time for self-reflection, right? But I'm trying to get over that bit by bit, and I think we're starting to get there. You know, I think this is a run where, quite honestly, we probably, like 3 months ago, probably would have won this run, but I think we'd be much more likely to lose because I would have taken a lot longer to recognize that our strategy of trying to use Maw of the Void was maybe not that conducive to staying alive. I also think I probably would have just not evaluated any of the deals with the devil and instead been like, just take them all because we got HP. And even though they were mediocre, I think that would have put us in a spot where we honestly could have maybe not lost, but we would have been closer to losing. Let's put it that way. So you know, it's a muscle, and I'm trying to work on that muscle. You know, when I get a stack of papers that need to be shredded, don't just shred every single one simultaneously in bulk and jam up the shredder and cost you another half hour. Feed them in maybe 2 or 3 at a time. It's an Amazon Basics, not one of those big trucks that kind of squeezes the stuff. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!